I know my family loves me. I know they care, they cook for me. They remind me to take my pills, they bring me warm socks when I forget where I put mine. But still, deep down, I feel like I'm slowly disappearing. They mean well, but they take over everything. They decide what I eat, where I live, even how I dress. They talk over me. They cut my sentences short. And when I speak, they smile politely, then go back to their phones. They're not bad people. But still, this society is quietly hurting its elders every single day without even realizing it. Emotional neglect of the elderly doesn't always come in the form of abandonment. It often comes wrapped in kindness, in overprotection, in "I know what's best for you," in smiles that don't really see you, in conversations that sound sweet but make you feel small. And the result, seniors across America are silently shrinking. In visibility, in dignity, in voice, and sometimes in will to keep going. In this video, we'll explore 10 subtle ways society unknowingly wounds its elders every single day. Not to blame, not to accuse, but to open our eyes and to offer a new way to care with dignity, with attention, with genuine respect. And if you're a senior watching this message is for you too. You are not wrong. You are not forgotten. And it is not too late to reclaim your voice, taking away their right to decide. When love starts to feel like control, you don't need to worry about that, Dad. We'll handle it. Don't stress, Mom. I already signed the papers. Just relax, okay? We've got it under control. Sounds caring, doesn't it? Sounds responsible. But underneath that gentle voice lies a quiet message. We no longer trust you to decide for yourself. Elder autonomy doesn't just mean legal independence. It means having a voice in your own life, even if you're 65, 75, 95, even if your hands shake, even if your memory slips, even if your steps have slowed. But the moment someone else starts deciding everything for you, what you wear, what doctor to see, what city to live in, who handles your money, you begin to feel less like a person and more like someone being managed. One man, 85, sharp-minded, once a Navy officer, was moved into assisted living by his kids. They meant well. They wanted him to be safe. They handled everything for him. When asked how he felt, he simply said, "I'm comfortable, but I don't feel like I belong anywhere anymore." Loss of control in old age is not just about inconvenience. It is a quiet erosion of identity. It tells the elder, "You've lived long enough. We'll take it from here." And slowly they begin to stop offering opinions. They stop insisting. They stop being. You may think you're helping. You may think you're relieving their stress, but if your support comes without permission, without choice, without voice, then you're not supporting. You're controlling. Overprotection is a form of emotional harm, especially when it's disguised as love. What can you do instead? Ask first. Would you like me to help, or would you prefer to try? Respect their decisions even if they're not what you would choose. Let them take the lead whenever possible. Remind them you still get to decide. This is your life. Because love isn't about taking over. It's about standing beside someone strong or weak, young or old, and letting them be who they are right to the very end, talking to them like children. When a sweet voice hurts more than harsh words, be a good girl and take your medicine, okay? You have to finish your porridge if you want to go outside. Don't be naughty now. You have to listen to the doctor. It sounds cute. It sounds caring. It sounds like you're speaking to a 3-year-old. But the person you're talking to is an 80-year-old former chief engineer or a 77-year-old woman who raised 3 children, survived war, illness, loss, and the long, slow loneliness of aging. Using a childlike voice with older adults is one of the most common unconscious behaviors. You don't mean harm. You think you're keeping the mood light. You believe you're making them feel cheerful or comforted. But in truth, for most older adults, that voice doesn't feel warm. It feels diminishing. When you change your tone, language, or manner as if the person in front of you can no longer understand or think clearly, you are sending an unspoken message. I no longer see you as a fully capable adult. Older people don't need to be babied. They don't need to be soothed like a toddler. They need to be spoken to with dignity on equal ground, even if they're weak, confused, or trembling. Many elders say they feel worse after a doctor's appointment, not because of the diagnosis, but because of how the nurse spoke to them. Too sweet, too slow, too much like talking to a pet. Sit still, okay? Good job, you're doing great, so proud of you. Finished your drink. Words that seem small can quietly damage the self-respect of someone who has spent a lifetime being independent and capable, and eventually they begin to withdraw. They stop speaking up, stop offering opinions, stop participating, because they realize, no matter what I say, they just see me as some confused old person. Respectful communication with the elderly isn't just about saying sir or ma'am. It's about keeping your normal tone of voice. Not joking if they don't like it, not using words like good boy or good girl as if talking to a child, not dumbing things down unnecessarily, not interrupting them with a polite but patronizing smile. You don't have to sound formal, just speak from the heart, with real respect, with eyes that meet theirs, not that glance over their shoulder, with ears that truly listen, not just wait for your turn to speak. Because an older adult, they may be slower, they may be frail, they may forget your name, but they always remember exactly how you spoke to them. Not truly listening. When people just nod along, you learn to stay silent forever. Yeah, I know, Mom. Okay, maybe you can finish the story another time. Sure, let me think about it. Older adults still speak. They still share stories, still offer advice, still ask questions. But if you pay attention, you'll notice real conversations are happening less and less because the listener has stopped listening. Elder voice ignored is one of the quietest wounds of aging. No yelling, no insults, but they still feel invisible. You nod as they speak, but your eyes stay glued to a screen. You say to their advice, then do whatever you want. You say I'm too busy, but still find time to scroll, reply to texts, and watch videos. Meanwhile, to them, just 5 minutes of your attention feels like a luxury. Silence isn't their nature, it's their reaction. When they speak but no one listens. When they give feedback but are brushed off. When they share memories and someone yawns. That's when older adults begin to withdraw their voice. One elderly man once said quietly, "I don't tell stories because I think they're new. I tell them because it's my only way to connect. But if no one needs to hear them anymore, then I'll stop talking." Emotional withdrawal in old age isn't always depression. It's a slow retreat. They speak less, smile less, initiate less, and eventually they feel like they've faded right inside their own family. Are you living with an elder but don't know what they've been thinking lately? When was the last time you asked? Dad, what do you think about that? Mom, is there anything bothering you? Grandpa, would you tell me an old story? You didn't mean harm, you were just busy. But every time you brush them off, every time you interrupt, every time you give a hollow nod, they learn to be quiet. The silent suffering of seniors is one of the most invisible pains. No one sees it. But it quietly erodes the spirit, the self-respect, and the sense of connection. Listening to elders doesn't require a psychology degree. It just takes pausing when they speak, looking them in the eye, letting them finish without interruption, asking more, not less, letting them tell their stories their way. They don't need dramatic reactions. They just need you to truly be there. A look, a deep, sincere nod, a simple sentence, "I'm listening." Because if you don't listen today, one day you'll wish they were still here to say anything at all. Not letting them help anymore when no one needs you. You begin to lose the will to exist. Humans don't live on food and medicine alone. We live on meaning, on the feeling I matter, on waking up in the morning knowing someone is waiting for me to cook a meal, waiting for me to remind them to wear a sweater, waiting for me to tell an old story that makes everyone laugh again. But as you grow older and everyone around you just wants to take care of everything for you, you begin to realize no one needs your help anymore. The need to feel useful after 60 isn't selfish, it's instinct. When you're no longer asked to do things, no longer relied on, no longer consulted for advice, you start to wonder, do I still matter? One elderly woman once said, "My day feels empty when I'm not allowed to do the dishes. I've done that every day for 40 years, but now my children and grandchildren say, 'Just rest, let us take care of it.'" I look at the empty sink, and my heart feels just as empty. When no one needs you anymore, you don't die right away, but your body starts to shut down. Energy fades, your mood drops, you stop moving as much, you eat just to get by. Because deep down, you know, with or without you, everything still goes on. And that's the kind of feeling that makes you die long before your body actually gives up. Have you seen this in your parents or grandparents? When they're no longer asked to do anything, when the kids take care of everything, when every time they offer help you say, "It's okay, just rest." You think you're caring for them, but in reality you're taking away the last thread of meaning that keeps them wanting to live. Purpose in old age doesn't come from big projects, it lives in small things. Being the one who waters the plants, preparing fruit for the grandkids before school, calling to remind the family to get their health checkups, sitting down to teach a child a prayer or a moral lesson. If you truly love the elders in your life, let them keep their roles. Don't do everything for them. Don't mistake slow for a burden. Don't forget, being asked for help is one of the deepest forms of human existence. And if you are the one who feels like no one needs you anymore, find where you can give again. You don't need to be invited. You can take initiative. Share a life lesson. Call an old friend. Teach your grandchild how to cook a family recipe. Or simply, do something kind each day without needing recognition. Invisible aging and emotional withdrawal aren't caused by illness. They're caused by not being allowed to live as someone of value. Let older adults feel useful not because they want control, but because they want to keep existing through love and contribution, hiding the truth because it might upset them. When you think you're protecting them, but you're really leaving them behind, don't tell mom her heart's too weak. Dad's sick right now, don't make him worry. Grandma's too old to hear about this kind of thing. Sounds reasonable, right? Very reasonable. Who doesn't want to protect their elderly loved ones from stress? Who wouldn't think? Let them rest, no need to trouble them. But here's the problem. The moment you start hiding things, you also start removing them from the world they used to belong to. Emotional exclusion of seniors doesn't mean kicking them out of the house. It simply means not telling them the truth about the family's finances, about their own medical condition, about what's going on at home, about relationships, struggles, losses, big changes, and even the small things. You think you're helping them feel peaceful, but in reality, you're abandoning them emotionally. One elderly man once shared, "I found out my son got divorced 2 years after the fact. The whole family kept it from me because they thought, he's old, what could he do anyway?" I wasn't angry that they hid it. I was hurt because I realized I was no longer important enough to be told. Protecting them by silencing them is a common behavior in cultures that practice love based on fear. You assume they can't handle the truth. You think they're too fragile, but you forget. They've lived entire lives. They've weathered storms much bigger than the one you're hiding. And the truth is, elders aren't afraid of the truth. They're afraid of being treated like they can't handle it. When you hide things, you send a quiet message. We've moved on without you. This is our life now, and you're no longer a part of it. And when that happens often enough, they'll stop asking. Stop offering opinions. Stop saying, "You might try this," or "I think that might work," because they understand. They've been gently but very clearly removed from the circle. Truth withholding in aging families is a form of soft separation. No one means harm, but the result is seniors no longer know where they stand in the family dynamic. They don't understand why their children are acting differently. They begin to feel like guests in their own home. They lose their ability to share, connect, or be real. If you truly want to protect someone, tell the truth kindly. You don't have to share every detail, but let them have the right to know, to be included, to walk beside you, to share the journey as a valuable part of the family. Try saying, "There's something going on I'm not sure if you'd want to know, but if you're open, I'd like to tell you. It's a bit complicated, but I want your opinion, Grandpa. I believe you're strong enough to understand this, so I don't want to keep it from you." Respecting elders through transparency doesn't harm them. On the contrary, it helps them feel, "I'm still part of this world, I'm still here. I'm not just an outsider waiting for my time to end." Because no one is ever too old to be respected with the truth, not letting them choose their own life. When you think you know what's best, you may be erasing who they are. "I've already arranged everything, Dad. You just need to move in. It's a great place, clean, safe, with full care. Nothing to worry about. Stop trying to live alone. Not at your age." Sounds reasonable, very reasonable. You care, you're worried, you're being proactive. You just want what's best for your parent. But did you ask them first? Freedom to choose in old age is a basic human right. Yet it's often the first thing to be taken away when someone starts slowing down after a fall, or simply when their children grow up. You think you're protecting them from risk, but in reality you may be stripping away their autonomy. And that is one of the greatest losses in old age. An older adult who doesn't get to choose where they live, how they spend their days, whether they want to be alone or not. They're no longer living, they're existing in a life arranged by someone else. Respecting senior preferences isn't just about letting them pick dinner or choose a TV channel. It's about allowing them to take ownership of where they live, their daily routines, how they care for themselves, who is allowed to care for them, and most importantly, living according to their values even if you don't fully agree. You might say, "But it's dangerous for Mom to live alone." That place is so much more convenient. If we let them decide and something happens, who's responsible? Those are fair questions, but making decisions for them, signing paperwork without their input, moving forward without asking, is not the answer. You can still walk beside them. You can still suggest, but you can also say, "Mom, what would you think about trying this place? I worry about you, but I want to hear what you really want." "Dad, you still have full decision-making power. I'm here to support, not replace you." Elder autonomy and dignity are the foundation of emotional survival. Even if an elder is frail, when they are allowed to choose how they live, they still feel like a whole person. But if you believe you know what's best and move forward, arrange everything, make all the choices, you're slowly turning your loved one into a background character in a story that used to be theirs. You don't need to abandon your responsibilities. You only need to shift your approach. From "I know what to do" to "let's decide together what feels right." From "you shouldn't live there anymore" to "if you're feeling unsure, we can talk through it together." From "this is the best solution" to "how do you feel about this option?" Because the difference between love and control is often just one small question. Do you want this? Seeing their efforts as meaningless. When no one acknowledges their efforts, they eventually stop trying. They still wake up early to cook. They still wipe down the table after every meal. They still fold the blankets, organize the clothes, check the water heater, water the garden. They still chat with the grandkids. They still ask how everyone in the family is doing. They still do. The only difference is no one notices. No one compliments their cooking. No one thanks them for caring for the plants on the porch. No one acknowledges that without them, this home would be missing something. And little by little, they stop trying. Lack of validation in the elderly doesn't come from laziness. It comes from a quiet, painful truth. I still contribute, but no one seems to think it matters anymore. One elder once shared, "I used to take care of the flower garden behind the house every day. Then one day my daughter passed by and didn't even look at it. She just said, 'Wow, Mom, you have too much time on your hands.' After that, I never planted anything again. You didn't mean to hurt them, you just got used to them being there. So used to it that what they do starts to feel automatic. So used to it, you forget one simple truth. Everyone needs to feel acknowledged, whether they're 8 or 80. Feeling invisible despite effort is a slow fading. They don't complain, they don't demand, they don't cry out, but inside, something begins to dim. Joy, initiative, the sense that I still bring value to this home. Are you living with an elder right now? When was the last time you said something like, "Thanks, Mom, for dinner"? "Dad, you're still so thoughtful, just like always." "Grandpa, your plants are thriving." "Grandma, your stories make my heart feel lighter." You don't need to flatter them, you just need to recognize them. With a look, a sincere thank you, a moment where you pause and really see them still trying for you. Emotional fading in silence happens when someone feels, no one needs what I do, no one sees me trying, so maybe I'll stop. And when elders stop doing the things they once took pride in, you don't just lose the actions. You begin to lose them. Their vitality, their spirit, their sense of dignity, their reason to exist. Why seniors stop trying isn't because they're tired. It's because they feel like their efforts no longer make a difference. So if you truly love them, start small. Notice what they're still doing quietly every day. Say what you're grateful for. Give them real roles. And let them see what they do matters. And they themselves still have a place in this world. Not letting them be sad. When no one allows them to be vulnerable, they learn to hide everything inside. Don't overthink it, Dad, it'll wear you out. Mom, don't be sad, there's nothing to cry about. You're old now, you should be happy. We all just want you to enjoy life. Sounds reasonable, very reasonable. Everyone wants seniors to stay cheerful. Everyone is afraid of seeing them cry. So what do? We stop letting them be sad. Emotional repression in the elderly is one of the most dangerous forms of harm because it's silent, persistent, and often invisible. Older adults have lost their spouse. They've lost friends. They've lost mobility, memory, and strength. They've lost their freedom. They've lost the roles, identities, and capabilities that once defined who they were. But when they want to speak, to share, to cry, they are met with words like, "Stop thinking about it, don't be weak, cheer up, what's there to be sad about?" And so they go quiet. Not because they're okay, but because no one gives them permission to hurt anymore. Not allowed to grieve is a subtle form of emotional violence. No one yells, no one pushes them away. It's just that no one stays long enough to sit beside them when they say, "I feel empty." Have you ever seen the eyes of an elder holding back emotion? They're not teary, not angry, just tired. Tired from holding it all together for too long. Tired from not having the space to feel weak. When seniors hide pain, they don't just bottle up sadness. They begin to shut down emotionally. No more sharing, no more opening up, no more tears, no more stories. And eventually, they become silent shadows in their own families. No one asks if they're happy. No one notices when they're not. Older adults don't need you to tell them, "Don't be sad." They need you to sit beside them when they are. In silence, without fixing, without advising, just listening, just being there so they know, "I'm allowed to feel this, and I won't be left alone just because I'm not okay today." The cost of not being allowed to be sad is silent depression, a heart that no longer hopes. Sleepless nights, days without speaking, without laughing, without expecting anything at all. If you love them, give them space to be sad. Not so they can drown in it, but so they can release the emotional burden they've carried for far too long. And if you are the one holding it all in just to keep others from worrying, please remember, you don't have to be strong all the time. You don't have to be okay every day. You're allowed to feel weak. You're allowed to cry. Old age is not an emotionless phase of life. It is still living fully with sadness, joy, anger, love, just like anyone else. When caring becomes controlling, how loving too much can quietly strip away dignity. You bring them water to the bedside. You feed them each spoonful. You bathe them, dress them, choose their clothes, comb their hair, remind them to take pills, escort them to the doctor, take them everywhere. You do everything, and you smile. "Mom, Dad, just sit still. I've got it all taken care of." It sounds wonderful, so loving, so dutiful. But here's the question we must ask. Are they still an independent person? Or have they become a child with no say in their own life? Elder dignity isn't about how much they can still do. It's about what they are allowed to do, what they are invited to choose, what they are still trusted to decide within the remaining capacity they have. You think you're showing love, but if that love becomes total control, it can quietly make them feel, "I'm just being sustained, not truly living." One elderly parent once said, "I'm deeply grateful to my child for caring for me so attentively. But sometimes, I just wish they'd pause so I could comb my own hair, so I could pick the shirt I want to wear, so I could open the door, pour my own glass of water, walk on my own, even if I'm slow, even if I'm clumsy, because when no one lets me do anything anymore, I no longer feel like myself." Overcare as disrespect is the kind of caregiving that looks ideal, but makes the person feel stripped of their identity. No one asks what they want. No one lets them try. No one allows them the chance to fail so they can learn or adapt. And eventually they begin to believe, "I'm nothing but a burden now." You may love your elders so much that you do everything for them, but if your love doesn't include respect, then it may slowly kill their spirit, from their dignity to their will to live. Indignity in elder care doesn't only come from neglect. It can come from too much attention, too much control, too many decisions made without them, until love becomes a kind of cage. You might not notice it right away, but you'll see it when they start to speak less, stop choosing anything, lose interest in meals, clothes, outings. And when you ask them anything, they respond with, "Whatever you think, I'm fine with anything." No human should have to live with whatever. At any age, they deserve to choose, to express themselves, to decide the smallest details of their daily life. Kindness that disempowers is love, expressed the wrong way. Real love is when you ask before doing things for them. Let them try even if it's slower. Encourage them to stay active and engaged. Don't impose what's best if they don't agree. You don't have to do everything, you just have to care in a way that still lets them lead. Because when someone loses all control, they often lose the will to continue as a person, not just a patient. And if you are an older adult reading this and you feel like you're being over-cared for to the point of suffocation, please speak up. "My dear, I need to live life my way, not just be protected inside a box of invisible rules." Because real love doesn't take power away. Real love gives it back and walks beside you. The journey of healing invisible wounds begins when we listen again and walk beside them. You've just made it through 10 chapters. Each chapter was a glimpse, a spiritual bruise that older adults carry silently every day. No one meant to hurt them, but out of habit, busyness, or loving the wrong way, we hurt them without knowing. What's the good news? You don't need to overhaul society. You just need to change how you see them and how you speak to them from the beginning. For those caring for aging parents or grandparents, don't assume, ask first. Even with small things, "Mom, what would you like to eat?" Or big ones, "Dad, how do you feel about this?" They need to feel consulted and trusted. Don't overcare, leave room for independence. You don't need to do everything. Just be their support and leave a little space for them to still be themselves. Don't baby talk them, speak as to an equal. They don't need to hear "Good job, sweetie." They need real conversation, adult to adult, equal, respectful, kind. Don't tune out, truly listen. Put your hands down, look them in the eye, and let them know, "I still want to hear what's on your mind." Don't force them to be cheerful, sit with them when they're sad. Silent, warm, patient presence is the most powerful emotional medicine you can offer. For the seniors who've been suffering in silence, you have the right to speak even if no one asks. You can say, "I don't agree with this. I want to make my own decisions. I want to do that even if I'm old." You have the right to fall back in love with life by living for yourself now. No more living just to please others. Old age is not the end. It is the season to live authentically after a lifetime of holding it all together. You can start small, a forgotten hobby, a new habit, a story never told. Even if no one listens, what matters is you still want to speak. And if you want a starting point, write about something that once hurt you but was never said. Call an old friend. Join a class, a community circle, a library group, an online forum. Care for a plant, cook a dish. Start a journal to tell your life story, or simply look in the mirror each morning and say, I'm still here, and I still matter. Emotional healing for seniors doesn't require anyone to rescue you. It just needs a real presence, a look, a question, a gentle touch at the right moment. And if you're standing beside an elder today, please remember, you don't have to take over their life. You just need to return to them with real respect and true listening. No one wants to live a long life if it means being treated like they no longer matter. We don't mean to hurt our elders. We're busy, we're concerned, we think we're doing what's best. We call it filial piety. But if what we call love makes them feel controlled, invisible, pushed to the sidelines, then it's no longer love. It becomes a box, soft, safe, full of care, but with no door for them to breathe. You may not remember all 10 chapters. You may still carry unconscious habits. But let this one thing stay with you. Starting tomorrow, look at your parents and grandparents with new eyes. Not as people who need to be taken care of, but as people who once stood tall for a lifetime and still deserve to be respected. And if you are an elder reading or listening to this, I want you to know, you are not wrong, you are not a burden, you are not invisible. You are simply living in a society that hasn't yet relearned how to truly listen and walk beside those who are aging. Old age is not a phase for waiting. Old age is an invitation to return. Return to the quiet truths, the inner clarity, the dignity you've earned through a lifetime. Return to the wisdom, the worth, and the parts of you that no one can take away as long as you choose to hold on to them. If you've ever felt lost in the noise of the world, please know this. You are not alone, and you are never too old to begin living again in your own way. Follow the life. After 60, if you want to, be truly heard. Feel inspired. Walk beside others who are relearning how to age with dignity, wisdom, and peace. Because in the end, what matters is not how long we live, but how fully we live in every remaining year with respect, with listening, and with real connection.